It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L-A-R.
Hello, friends! It is time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears. I am today's host, Alex Clark, joined by our very own opening day knockouts. We have a Splash, Ryan Splashpots, and Mathias Kurosaki Mac. My main men, opening week is here. We've been enjoying baseball. How are you guys doing today?
That's a loaded question, buddy.
Yes, it is. Extremely so.
I agree.
So I'm going to start with a little fun fact. We have 7 days in a week, Monday through Sunday.
Good math. Good math.
Yes. The Braves have a losing record on every day of the week. It is April 3rd.
I mean, I feel like that's going to be really good for our second segment of the day. But,
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, that's still true, though, yeah.
I'll say this much, that through 7 innings of yesterday's Mets game, it looked like we were Mets fans were going to be spiraling because, God forbid, your team has a sluggish start to the season. But other than that, day off today for the Mets. I just ate what I think is the greatest sandwich to ever exist, the Chicken Club. And, I humbly say that the Chicken Club is the greatest sandwich ever, narrowly beating out the bacon, egg, and cheese, the chopped cheese, and the Philly cheesesteak. So, that's how my day's going. I'm going to go coach practice later tonight, and home opener for the Mets is tomorrow, and hopefully it doesn't rain.
Fellas, do you like Eggs Benedict? Alex?
I do.
You do not. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I had Eggs Benedict with smoked salmon this morning.
That sounds fire.
That was a win for me. The Braves might not be able to win, but I sure can try.
I'm doing all right, though, overall. I still am absolutely baffled by the idea that the Seattle Mariners offense can't do anything against any starter unless you are the reigning AL Cy Young Award winner. So,
It's baseball.
Makes perfect sense, right? Yep. Anyway, with all that being said, let's get into our first topic on the day here. We're going to lead off with something that's been a real dinger, and that is the Torpedo bats. So, for those of you that do not know, there's been a bat that has been actually in production since 2018 here, and over the last couple of years has seen very sporadic use in practice and in trainings, but it's really made its big noise into the MLB this opening week, especially with the Yankees, where the Torpedo bat, much like the name would suggest, is differently shaped. It is shaped for where most of the wood, the barrel of the bat, is lower, basically up near the label of the bat, and then it kind of thins out again up top. Here again, looking kind of like a torpedo. What is the reasoning for this? Why do we care? Well, it changes how how the bat can be used, basically. It changes swing timing, all that kind of stuff, but also where the sweet spot of the bat is, where the barrel of the bat is, and it has seen some already really strong results here. And people are wondering, is this legal? Why is this legal? What's going on with this? Where can I get one? And I could only just wait for little Timmy, who's on his travel team playing left field, batting 174. His mom's going to pay $500 for a Torpedo bat to raise that batting average to 184. But regardless, here, guys, what is your opening reactions to this Torpedo bat sensation? Do you think it's a fad? Do you think it's going to continue on like this? Do you think this is the future of baseball?
I think it depends on the hitter. And this, to me, is a bit of a non-story. Actually, the newsworthiness was the New York Yankees hit 9 home runs in Game 2 of this season. I would like to point out 3 of those came from Aaron Judge, who does not use the Torpedo bat and is good anyways. And they were facing the Brewers, who were throwing Nestor Cortez out there, who the Yankees know quite well, at Yankee Stadium in an oddly warm day for April, the balls across the league look a little bouncier than normal. And they hit 9 home runs. And it comes out, oh, Jazz Chisholm has this Torpedo bat. Other players across the lineup have this Torpedo bat. And it's this huge story. Oh, it's the Yankees, and they're cheating. Well, yesterday, as a recording, Wednesday, Zach Gallen goes to Yankee Stadium facing the Torpedo bats, ties his strikeout record, allows 0 runs. The Diamondbacks allow just 3 runs on the day. So I think it's a bit of a non-story, and I think it's no different than other players choosing the kind of bats they want. And I'll look at Jeff McNeil on the Mets, that his bat handle is different from the traditional baseball bat handle. It's more like an axe. It doesn't have like the rounded like knob on the end. So that's different. That's not cheating. That's not breaking the rules, right? And if you're in the rule book, this is a perfectly fine bat. And I think players, it's good to cater to what you want your bat to be. You can have a bat that's longer. You can have a bat that's shorter. You can have a bat that's heavier. You can have a bat that's lighter. You can have a different array of bats. The comparison I've seen is picking your club or in golf, getting like tested for a specific length of club, a specific, density, whatever. Pitchers can have different gloves. Outfielder, you can customize your glove. You can have different within a certain range. You can have a little bit of a bigger glove, a bit of a smaller glove. There's mitts. There's all sorts of customization that makes you at least think you're a better baseball player. And I think that's my takeaway here.
Yeah, I completely understand with you on that. Like, I mean, to go with the old Yogi Berra quote here, baseball is 90% mental, the other half physical. But rest in peace, Yogi Berra. But at the same time, yeah, I completely agree here. Like, this is something that really plays more on the mental game of baseball here, because if you think you're doing something that is giving you an advantage, it's going to make you better because you believe in yourself finally. It just comes down to belief. That's why Aaron Judge isn't using them. He's like, I've been doing well without it. Why would I need to change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Here, and I'm of the same mindset here. Like, this is legal. I like the idea of using something here that's still within the rules here of the game. You are using something here and changing a mechanic here to make you better. That's just called being proactive. That's called productive engineering here. And like you said with golf, as a golfer myself, I completely get it. You can take my clubs here, and that does not mean that another golfer can use them and do well with them. For a really extreme example, Ricky Fowler on the tour uses these razor-thin irons here, razor-thin, that have a small sweet spot. But for him, they're perfect because he knows how to hit that sweet spot every single time, and it gives him even more power. You give that to a random golfer, and they are going to shank everything here. So it makes perfect sense on that idea, and I don't have a problem with it, like, at all. If you are still playing within the rules, that's why, like, again, I have the problem with the whole bonds conversation. If you're playing within the rules, then go for it. What's the harm at that point? And if MLB comes out and says, actually, we're banning this, then you go from there. But they've already gone out and said, they've already made the official statement that it's okay to use these bets. They are fully legal.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I really think if the Yankees hadn't gone out and hit 9 home runs on Saturday afternoon, on a day, like Splash said, it was abnormally warm, especially for the Northeast, and the wind was blowing out, and Aaron Judge was being Aaron Judge. I mean, he hit his first home run into the third deck in Yankee Stadium. It's probably just a non-story. It's just, all right, check this out. People are using different bats, yada, yada, yada. And nobody says anything about, oh, the Yankees are cheating, whatever. I mean, you were using the golf example. Like, I'm a swimmer. It's like how, I remember when USA Swimming decided, or not USA Swimming, World Aquatics decided to ban the super suits that Michael Phelps and, a lot of high level international swimmers were wearing. That was, though, because literally it was a ridiculous advantage owning one of those. But that's the thing, is that I don't know if the Torpedo bats provide the advantage people think it does. It's just that, Jazz Chisholm had a big opening weekend. And
yeah, Chisholm is the big example I'm getting from.
Exactly. Yeah, and I understand. One argument I've heard is that it kind of hurts the pitchers. Like the pitchers can't strategize as well if they don't know what bats the hitters are using. But at the same time, I think
the bat.
It's also that part of the reason why hitters wanted these bats were because they thought pitching was becoming too good. And look, pitching is really good. There's no denying that. But I really see no reason to ban these. I think, you can use whatever bat you want as long as it's within the rule book. No corking it, no using a metal bat during game. Although that'd be hilarious.
Again, I want to see one game with it. I want to see Aaron Judge with a metal bat one game because I just want to see the first 600-foot home run.
Yeah, let's just do like the All-Star game with metal bats or something.
Please.
Like
the only thing I have with them using metal bats is I don't want the pitchers to die.
Yeah, that's my one concern.
That's a good point.
But like I'd say it's like how I don't watch the Pro Bowl, but like how they do flag football in the Pro Bowl. Like why don't we do metal bats in the home run derby and in the All-Star game? But like other than that,
I like the idea of doing it for the derby, but you'd have to make a couple changes. The main change being that the extra time bonus you get would have to be for over 500-foot home runs.
I'd say more than 440,
and no, I would say no fans in the outfield.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Do not.
I'd be very concerned about that. Yes.
Okay.
The kids will die.
Here's my pitch. You guys remember
being blown out into left field? No.
Yes, you remember when they had I think it was Avs and Golden Knights. They played on Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this.
Okay, we need MLB Home Run Derby at like a scenic park, like a scenic area like that. Obviously, that was an ice rink, not a baseball stadium, but that would be very cool.
Daisy Cruiser.
I feel like the Bananas could do something like this, and that'd be a lot of fun.
I feel like the Bananas have done something like this.
Yeah. I feel like they have.
Also, I've never seen more people upset about a sport than people in the banana ball comments.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Just enjoy baseball. It's fun. It's fun baseball.
Have a good time.
Yeah, it's different. College football is different from the NFL. You can still enjoy that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's 100% how it is. The other, and we talked about this earlier here a little bit here. To me, the big news and why this really blew up, yes, abnormal heat in there and all that, but it's because it was Jazz Chisholm that hit these homers. Jazz is not known as a power guy. Like he hits a good homer. He has some power. Yeah, no, absolutely. But using new bat, guy that does not hit, for 30 home runs in a season, hits 2 in one game. Like, people are going to turn that into an overreaction here. Speaking of overreactions here, that's going to lead into our next segment here. As one of the best parts of opening week is to overreact about the very small sample size that you have for opening week. So each of us have come up with 2 overreactions that we are prepared to, quote, defend, whatever, just the overreactions that we have. One about our own favorite team, and one about non-favorite team. Here, just remember, I want to preface before we say this. Baseball's 162 games. We are 7, maybe 8, maybe 5 games in on the season. Chill. That's all I got to say. All right, who would like to give their first overreaction?
Yeah, I'll go first here. I'm going to go with one from my favorite team. Mark Vientos should go back to the minors for a while. Mark Vientos is off to a just dreadful start. 2 for his first 24. He's making mental mistakes. He didn't run out a ground ball that was bobbled. So that was ugly. Yesterday, so Wednesday, he made a throwing error on a ball going home. Really, he should have just thrown to second and tried to turn a double play, but he must have really thought Otto Lopez was going to beat it out because he threw it to Hayden Sanger and just completely airmailed it in a run score. And then later, again, Otto Lopez is up. He hits a chopper to third, and it's going foul, but Vientos grabbed it while the ball was still in fair territory, and a run scored again. His next at bat, or I remember he had an at bat where the pitcher had thrown 5 straight balls to start the inning, and then he swung at a pitch at his eyes. Then he took a fastball down the middle, Then he swung at a slider off the plate to strike out. Like he's having a terrible start to the year, and the data is not great with him. But rest assured, I think he'll be fine. His body language isn't great, but I think having a day off today and resetting, coming back home for home opener, I think he's gonna be fine. Maybe he doesn't hit 266 like he did last year, or have an OPS over 870, but I think he's a fine young ball player, and I believe he can turn things around.
Yeah, and that all makes sense. Yeah, he's a good ball player. I don't think he needs to get to the minors yet, but that's again an overreaction. I like it. Splash, you want to go next? You want me to go?
I can roll here. So I'll go with my Braves overreaction.
All right, roll with it.
All right. Nick Allen is your starting shortstop. Bye-bye, Orlando Arcia. Nick Allen is like solid defensively. He might be a half tick below Arcia, but he's actually hitting. He's hitting 364 to start. He's, doing some nice things. He has a double in there, had a double. It was off Andy Pajes' glove in center yesterday. But, he's doing the thing, and Orlando Arcia can be a $2 million depth option, come in. I actually I know the Braves are 0-7, but I like that they are trying new things. They switched up the lineup a bit yesterday. There have been a couple bunts. I couldn't believe it. Stuart Fairchild tried to bunt for a hit. He, got on base because Max Muncy has the yips right now. The Braves bunted twice in an inning, and it was unbelievable to see. So, yeah, welcome, Nick Allen. You are the starting shortstop now.
All right, yep. So welcome to Nick Allen being the starting shortstop. Unfortunately, not Nacho Alvarez, but at the same time, still, I'll take it. Yeah, no. All right, my overreaction for the Mariners. Jorge Polanco will be your comeback player of the year. Over the first few games, Polanco has looked like a completely different ball player than he did last year. He actually looks, dare I say, comfortable at the plate. Where all last year he looked uncomfortable because apparently his knee was broken. So now you have a healthy Polanco, a switch hitting third baseman. No, not second base. Third baseman now. It's beautiful. Like, legitimately, the fact that he was like the only offense that the Mariners had through the first few games was insane. On the first game, got base hit, and then tried to bunt for a base hit. And even though that failed, he still got made it a productive out here at that point. So even in failure, he still succeeded in that. So no, Jorge Polanco looks absolutely on fire right now. He's batting 400 on the season. And to add on top of it, he became a dad again last night here. So he's now got that big dad energy going through him, and he is going to have the run of the century here. Jorge Polanco, your 2025 American League Comeback Player of the Year. Book it now.
I'll be honest. I am all in on Jorge Polanco this year, by the way. I picked him up in fantasy because my team has been decimated by injuries, but I had a feeling that injury was definitely weighing in on him last year because he did not look good for most of the year. And I think for sure he's going to have a great season. This is a guy who's a former All-Star. He's hit over 30 homers in the season. He's way better than his numbers showed last year. So I think that's perfectly justified.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that Polanco, if he continues on this path, right now his OPS plus is over 200. We take those.
No,
we absolutely take those.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to have 1100 OPS or whatever, but I think honestly I could see 850, maybe 900.
I could see 900. It'd be insane.
I mean,
yeah.
This is a guy who
I would be. Look, I mean, if you have a lineup that includes a Polanco hitting well, Julio hitting well, and let's say here also Robles playing like Robles did at the end of last year, that's a dangerous 1-2-3 if you do it right.
I'm
and
looking,
Cal Raleigh being Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, I mean, look, Polanco has been an above average hitter most of his career. I mean, he's had an OPS plus as high as 125, and he's had close to he's had a 5 WAR season in 2021. He had a 4.6 WAR in 2019. Like I said, he was in the All-Star game that year. Like, he's a good player. I think he's definitely in for a bounce back. But I'll roll into my one about another team. I'm just gonna say it for everybody: the Dodgers are going 162-0.
It's
yeah. At this point, after watching them play, I don't know how they will lose any games. They are averaging a tick over closer to 6 runs per game, 45 runs in 8 games. Their ERA is 1.97 as a team. That's with Roki Sasaki struggling badly in his first 2 starts. He's walked 9 and 4 in 2/3 innings. But, I mean, yes, their walks are high, but they're also striking out a lot of batters. They've 91 strikeouts to 36 walks. You see some of the ways they've won games, like the one against the Tigers with overturned call. Let's call it an overturned call. I don't think it should have been overturned, but all right, yeah, overturned call against the Tigers, and then they rally in extra innings. Then there's yesterday. It doesn't make any sense, but they keep finding ways to win, and I'm wondering, like, maybe they don't go 162-0, but I think at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they challenge that 0-1 Mariners record.
Yeah. On the same point as well here that real quick I'll say on this, and you can go ahead, Splash, is they are very close to breaking that record, but also at the idea of especially with last night's ball game that we watched, it almost felt scripted that they were going to win that game. Like, they were down 5-0. They make their big comeback against one of the best closers in baseball. And who is there in the bottom of the ninth to win the game for them? Well, Mr. Ohei Shotani.
It's like it was scripted. It felt so scripted.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
I am going to point out that they allowed 6 unearned runs in the Braves series. 6 out of 7 runs were unearned. So the defense sucks. Like, that full stop sucks. It's not a good defense. Muncy sucks at third. Betts is a below average defensive shortstop. Second is fine. And without
he should
Freddie,
be back in the outfield or playing second. Like, he should not be playing shortstop.
And to be fair, they don't have Freddie at first, and Freddie is a good, like, scooper and whatnot. But the defense stinks. So if you can string together some contact, if you can, like, make contact against these whiffing machines, then yeah, sure, you'll probably score some runs. They'll be unearned to save that Dodgers ERA. But I'll go into my overreaction. We have a new best second baseman in baseball. His name is Otto Lopez. Not only is he Jesus Christ himself at second base defensively, he also mashes. He has a 160 OPS plus right now. He leads the National League in wins above replacement because that's what we care about on April 3rd. It's Otto Lopez, baby. We just live in his world. He leads all position players in WAR. He's at 0.8 already. He's on pace for checks notes. Over 16.2 baseball reference WAR. That's pretty good. I'm not on Fangraphs, so I don't know. He's going to hit 340 this season with a 400 on base, a 550 slug, and he's going to get about 80 defensive runs saved at second. So Otto Lopez.
Understandable. Otto Lopez also got a finest card in last year's MLB The Show.
Yeah. Also, I watched Otto Lopez this week against the Mets, and he had a very impressive opposite field home run against David Peterson, like off the facing of the second deck in right field, which I didn't know he was capable of. It just looked like he was taking really good swings. And it looks like, maybe he hit the weight room this offseason because he has more pop now. So, Otto Lopez. The Marlins need an all-star representative. Maybe it's Otto Lopez this year.
It makes sense. I mean, it's either that or Sandy Alcantara decides to be good at baseball again.
Well, they trade him before that happens. But
fair enough, yeah. All right, my overreaction that does not have to do with the Mariners does have to do with my Cougs in the major leagues. Kyle Manzardo will be the best first baseman in the American League by the end of the year. This man is on a mission from God himself, playing baseball at an unreal clip. Everyone was like, why did the Guardians trade away Josh Naylor or not get Josh Naylor? Why did they trade away Tyler Freeman? Well, you want to know why? It's so Manzardo can have the limelight. On the year so far, he already has a couple of dingers and an OPS plus of 198. He has an OPS of over 1,000. This is a man who was put on this earth to make people excited and to hit dingers. And you know what? Kyle Manzardo is the man who's gonna do it. Here, Eka Scarlett, I understand, sad about Tyler Freeman. I completely empathize with you on that. But Kyle Manzardo is the truth. I love that man so much. But what are some of your guys' overreactions here as we go through the first week of the season? Let us know on Twitter/X here at LAR_baseball, also on Instagram as well. Or you can also leave a comment on this YouTube video, Losses Above Replacement on YouTube. We just hit 1 million views over our lifetime. So that's awesome. 1 million is a really cool number to say here.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Let's move on to our next here. We're going to move into a 3 words only segment here, but we're going to do a couple of them here because this is contract extension segments here. So there have been a lot of contract extensions that have been made over the first week, even to just before the start of the season. You've had guys like Christian Campbell, Jackson Merrill, Cal Raleigh, Ketel Marte here that have been, I'm not even going to say this was looming, but I think that we're really in this era now where teams are much more willing to give extensions early on, even before a lot of proof is there. Just we're like, okay, we expect that you are going to do great, so we're going to buy you now while you're cheap, which makes sense. It's like playing the stock market. So with that being said here, we're going to start with 3 words only. What is the best contract extension we have seen so far this season here? Is there anyone who would like to go first? If not, I can go first.
I'll go first here.
All right, Mac, I want to hear it. Let's see.
My 3 words, locked up Garrett. I think the Red Sox did the right thing here. I know that last year, part of the reason why he didn't get traded, Garrett Crochet, was because he said he wasn't going to pitch or he wasn't going to start unless he had a contract extension in hand. And the Red Sox made sure to go ahead and do that. And look, I'll be the first one to admit I was not high on him becoming an effective starting pitcher last year. He proved me wrong. He was excellent last year. This year, he just threw 8 shutout innings yesterday. If you told me in 2022 that Garrett Crochet would be throwing 8 innings in a baseball game for the Red Sox, I would just been like, there's no way he's going to be a closer or whatever. But he's turned into a complete pitcher, I think. And the Red Sox have their ace going forward now. And it was a very reasonable deal. You think how much pitchers get paid these days? I think 6 years, 170 works out for both parties. They'll take him through his age 32 season. And who knows? Maybe he lines up for another payday after that. So I think that's the best extension given out.
All right.
I like that.
So my 3 words are setting a standard. Believe it or not, I think the Cal Raleigh extension's the best of the bunch, and not because of who Cal is as a player. I think that's not irrelevant to this conversation, but like what I mentioned with the A's extending Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker in the offseason, extending Cal shows the rest of the Mariners that they are attempting to be serious about doing business, and that's an important precedent to set. And you retain a great player in Cal who is integral to your team's success, both offensively and defensively. He's one of the few players that can hit at T-Mobile Park. He's an excellent defensive player. He manages the pitching staff. And away from T-Mobile Park, he hits all of the dingers. Switch hitter, can really do it all. He's a leader for that team, and it's important to keep players like that locked up. You can see when leaders leave other situations and it doesn't go exactly to plan, right? But when you can lock up your, not officially the team captain, but if the Mariners were to give out a C, it would be on Cal Raleigh's chest protector. That's the kind of player you lock up, at least until the Blue Jays lock up Vlad Guerrero, which probably is not going to happen.
Yeah. I will say, kind of adding on to that, the C on the jersey at that point would, honestly, Cal's definitely one of the top, although I would also argue that you give that as well to JP just because he is.
Yeah.
He's been around for a longer period of time.
He's
but
the
they both
emotional
have good.
leader.
Yeah,
He's the emotional leader, where Cal is the like stalwart leader.
That's
fair. It's how I feel about like the Mets with Lindor or Nimmo or Alonso. It's like they all are leaders in some way, shape, or form.
And it's really political. So as far as I'm aware, there's only two of like official team captains. That's Judge and Salvi.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna really debate that. And I think there's a couple teams with like really obvious candidates, and then a couple teams that like if you're as a Braves fan, Ozzy Albies is the blatantly obvious Braves candidate. That's not even like a 10-year thing. That's a like he's just the guy. But other teams, like who would be the captain of the Dodgers? It's like, are you going to make it Kershaw a starting pitcher? I don't know.
I mean, the Mets made John Franco captain. To be fair,
fair. So
I mean, like captainhood usually comes from like stalwartness, like how long have they been there, and how much does the team respect them. That's usually what it comes down to.
And then you have other obvious like Trout on the Angels.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. A lot of times I know it's like the catcher, because they're the ones that like manage a lot of the game there. So a lot of times the catcher will be in that position. I know that was one of the main reasons why Veritek was the captain of the Red Sox back in the day. All right, so my 3 words, I'm going to kind of go along the same lines as Splash, but I'm going to go in a slightly different direction with it. Dumper precedes Gilbert. The main reason why you gave Cal Raleigh an extension, besides the fact that he absolutely deserves it, is that is setting the precedence here that right now you are focused not just on your offense, but on your pitching staff, because every one of the Mariners starting pitchers has gone on to talk about how much Cal Raleigh has helped them and how much his presence behind the dish here and his presence in the locker room makes them a better pitcher. So it's not a coincidence that as soon as Raleigh got his extension, Logan Gilbert said, I am much more willing now to sign an extension. It's not coincidence, guys. Here, and like you said there, Splash, but with the A's, giving out extensions to players here that you trust and you're ready to work with here, that sets the tone that, all right, we're willing to reward the good work that you guys are able to do. But we need you to work with us, and we will work with you here. Whereas the ideology for the Mariners for a little bit has been, have fun, we'll probably trade you away, though, which is bad. So, but right now, that's the starting pitching staff. I would not be too surprised if before the end of, let's say, All-Star week, right, that we do not have an extension in hand for Logan Gilbert and potentially another pitcher. But Logan's the one you really need to get done first. He's the one that's coming up quickly on it, and he's the one that's been most vocal about it. But signing Cal Raleigh to that extension is the first big step, and then signing Gilbert, who, again, right now is already showing like he has what it takes to potentially be a Cy Young candidate, if not a Cy Young winner in the American League. So
I think, I also considered Cal to be like the 1B here, because obviously I think Crochet was of utmost importance for the Red Sox. But Cal, I mean, he's one of the few sure things in that Mariners lineup right now. And he's a guy you're going to want to have around. And to your point, they probably do try to lock up the pitchers, and the pitchers love pitching to him. So there was no reason to not extend him. It was really, really big. And it does show that the Mariners want to be serious about contending. So.
Exactly. And that's been the story over the last couple of years, is that this team is not serious. This team is not willing to do what it takes to win. That Stanton is not going to open up the wallet or open up the checkbook to make sure that your team can win. And this is a move that is at least a start in showing that that's not the case, that you're trying to maybe save money to make these extensions. Because if that's the case, I will take back everything I'm saying here when it comes to that. I'm not always been the biggest fan of Stanton. And because that's what you need to do at this point. You know, you have one of the best rotations in baseball. And on top of it, they're all young except for Luis Castillo. And even Castillo's not like ancient either. He's like, what?
He's in his early 30s.
He's in his early 30s. Yeah, that's not ancient. That's old, yes, but not ancient. We're not Jamie Moyer here. We're not Charlie Morton here. So at this point, like, this rotation is legit. I think this rotation, if it plays up to the standard that it is at, is going to be generational. You just need to lock them up forever. Because now that you will have, if you can have that pitching staff for years, the hitting will be there. Hitting will come if you have the pitching to make it so that you don't have to score 1,000 runs every inning. Hello there, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of Angels of Anaheim, of Angels of Los Angeles. So, with that being said here, let's move on to our second 3 words only for this, and we're going to flip the script a bit. Where now, what is the worst extension that we have seen of these early ones here? I'll start this one off, actually, and I'm going to be a contrarian here because I like doing that because it's fun. Crochet will fall. I think Crochet is a fantastic pitcher. I do. Do I think that he is worth the contract he got? No. I think that what's going to happen here is he had 1.5 good seasons with the White Sox here as a starting pitcher. I'm not seeing it continuing. I'm really not, especially with the kind of thrower that he is, being a full fastball, a good slider on that. I think that he can have a brutal decline. And now that he's going to be pitching in a division that is not the worst in all of baseball, he's going to have a lot more tougher competition to work against. And him going against Aaron Judge a lot of the year is not going to help his numbers. I think that, yes, if you're Boston, you needed to lock up a good pitcher. And I think Crochet was a good move on that part. But I do think that Crochet himself is a big candidate for will not live up to it here. Do I think that's exactly going to happen? No. In fact, I want to see Crochet do well because when he is on, he is one of the most fun pitchers to watch. When he is not, and if he is not, that extension could age like an albatross.
Well, I think the reason I'm high on it though is because he's young enough where I think he's just starting to like find who he is as a pitcher. Like he is a fireballer and he's had elbow concerns. Trust me, that's why I was cautious when it came to coming up with trade packages for him potentially. And the Red Sox paid a steep price for him, but they weren't gonna give up that prospect package if they were only going to have him for 2 years. And I think because he's become more of a complete pitcher, I think sure he might have, a couple stints on the IL, but I think he's going to be really, really
good. So one thing, a little ironic, because Alex, you were I believe the only one of the group to have Crochet in your top 5 starters, if memory serves.
I know.
That's true.
So that's at least a smidge ironic to me.
So like I said, like for this year, I think it's gonna be fine.
Okay,
but I think that this is one that could have a brutal decline.
Fair enough. Yeah, like Max said, he's young enough. He's entering his age 26 season, and I'm going to use Chris Sale as the obvious comparison, lefty, White Sox to Red Sox. So Chris Sale, through age 25, had his first 3 Cy Young vote seasons, had a 5-WAR season, 2 6-WAR seasons. Well, since his age 26 season began, that's 11 years of pitching. He has 31 WAR. He's won 94 games. 1,700 strikeouts, a 135 ERA plus. But he hasn't been the healthiest pitcher. But I think if you map that onto Crochet's contract and you say, okay, he is going to miss a season with injury, just bake it in because he's a pitcher. He's going to miss a season. It happened that Sale's missed season was 2020, but he didn't pitch much in 21 or 22, and obviously has only made 2 starts this season. But, pitchers can return value, and I think this is the player you do extend. And he's not my 3 words only, but I think it's the quote-unquote issue with getting pitchers on the free agent market is they tend to be older. There's a reason that Yamamoto set the all-time pitching contract record because he's 25, was 25 at the time. Garrett Cole getting the $324 million deal closer to being age 30 ends up being like he's going to miss this season. and you're paying him into his deep 30s. Crochet, you're not paying into his deep 30s. You're paying until he's like 31 or 32. So I don't mind it. Pitchers are risky. You can sort of bake in that he's going to miss a year with Tommy John or the internal brace or something because he's a pitcher, but I don't mind locking him up like that.
Yeah, and it's like it becomes just whether or not you think that he's going to make it work with it. I think overall, of the extensions that we have seen right now, I think his has the chance to have the brutalest decline. My original 3 words I was going to have was about Christian Campbell, just because giving the young player the big extension before they proved anything has proven to be hit or miss. But when you take a look at the ceiling that Crochet has versus the floor, the floor and ceiling that he has versus the floor and ceiling that Christian Campbell has, I think that with Crochet, you're paying him for the pitcher that he is right now. And not that he's going to get better, you're paying for him to be right where he's at the moment. And that means he can only go down from there. So, with that being said, Mac, where is your 3 words only for the worst extension so far?
All right. Well, my 3 words are hurting his value. It's kind of a weird 3 words, but this is not on the part of the team. Jackson Merrill, 9 years, $135 million, is very good for the Padres. On the other hand, from Jackson Merrill's standpoint, he's 22 right now. This contract will take him through his age 30 season. And he might be just amazing during those 9 seasons. And that's the thing is that, as a 21-year-old last year, he was runner-up in Rookie of the Year voting. He got 9th in MVP voting. He was an all-star. He won a Silver Slugger, 826 OPS. And this is while being one of the youngest players in the league. And this year, he's off to a 10-for-24 start with 2 homers. My issue here is that say he had taken like a 6-year deal, 6 years, I don't know, 90 million or something like that. That takes you through your age 27 season, and you're probably set up to make a whole lot of money as a 27-year-old. Now you're going to be entering free agency on the wrong side of 30. You're probably not going to get the same amount of money that you could as a 27-year-old. So that's my one gripe with it. I think I it's hard to pick out like a real bad contract here because I don't think any of these are bad contracts, but it's one of those from a player standpoint here. I think he's kind of losing out on some extra money. So that's why I think it's the quote unquote worst of these deals.
I can see that 100%.
Yeah, it's tough because it's not like bad players are getting extended. And if quote unquote bad players, not a bad player, but more of like I would say utility piece or a role player than a star. Ceddanne Rafaela, the Red Sox, that kind of contract, you're just locking up your everyday center fielder who's going to hit 8th for you for the next 6 years. Okay, that's fine. To each his own. Instead of looking for Harrison Bader every offseason or Jose Siri every offseason, you just get your own Jose Siri, basically. So my worst contract, 3 words. Already, Christian Campbell? ? So Campbell's played a week in the big leagues. He just signed a 8-year, $60 million extension. There's team options, so he's under contract or under club control through 2034. Not a real year. I don't buy it. Not a real year. But if that year happens to pass, Christian Campbell is going to make like $100 million. So it's not the financial security aspect of it always gets underplayed because that's life-changing money. And there's I forget who it was had the quote that if I can't survive on $85 million, why should I, what's the point in getting $200 million or whatever, something like that. But it just seems like an odd time to get an extension, like your first week of big league action. It's one thing maybe later in the season or early in your second season, Jackson Merrill, for example, early in his second season gets the extension. Okay, fine. Or before you play a game. So this is the Jackson Churio contract last season. Before he plays a game with Milwaukee, he signs the big deal. So this is like Schrodinger's baseball player. Why are you signing it in the intermediary period? So I feel like he may have left some value on the table. And he had to show like he had to be a good big leaguer for a week. If he had signed it beforehand, he probably gets the same contract. But now he's like, hey, I actually am good at baseball at the major league level. And I don't think he necessarily increased his contract value with that. But if he had a better rookie season, if he wins the rookie of the year, is top 10 in AL MVP voting like Merrill was last year in the National League, then maybe you're in a 9-figure contract extension as opposed to an 8-figure contract extension.
Yeah, and it's definitely whenever you give rookies that kind of money, it is scary a little bit on both ends. Because if it pays off it's like if you play well, then you're not making as much money as you could be, and the team is very much benefiting off of it. If you don't play well, the team is losing a lot of money, and you're gaining a lot of money for not doing very much. So it's always going to be just kind of a scary situation on both ends. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of it overall. Like with Julio, it made a little more sense because he at least played half the season. At that point, you saw what you had, and you knew that if you let him go any further, it was going to get worse. So I understand it, but there's always going to be that huge element of risk here. And for Campbell specifically was the one that I was originally going to say for the 3 words only on this, for that kind of reason. He's played a handful of games, and you're giving him 8 years. You're giving him this much money for that long. You're committing to this person. It's again high risk, high reward, but at the same time, it's always going to be a little bit risky.
I would argue the biggest loser here is the arbitration process, because you look at other sports and yes, his contract's fully guaranteed, unlike the NFL. NBA contracts are fully guaranteed. Obviously this isn't going to happen, and we might get a lockout in a couple years, and there's a lot of ground to make up that Major League Baseball needs to make up, but it seems a little ridiculous to me that an 8-year, $60 million contract is seen as a good decision for a player who's expected to win the Rookie of the Year in the American League. At least at this point, that seems like a big time market inefficiency, that $8 million a year on average is good value for one of the best young players in the sport, a guy who was a top 20 prospect. It just seems the value proposition's not the same. Like NFL players, first round picks, they make more money than that, and they are not guaranteed deals, but they're getting colossal signing bonuses. And then NBA players, Jaylen Brown is not the best player on his own team. He signed a $300 million contract over 5 years. I know the money is a little bit different in each sport, but having players make the league minimum their first 3 seasons, or around the league minimum their first 3 seasons, and then having to go to court basically to get more money seems like an outdated process to me.
I agree. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And that's the thing is also yes, Campbell had a huge season last year, but before last year, he was a 4th round pick. He wasn't a super highly touted prospect until last year. So it's not like, people are saying oh my God, why would he do that? Why he should fire his agent, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, it makes sense. You don't have to go through the arbitration process now.
Absolutely. And that's something that's, again, I wonder how much longer we are going to have that, especially with, a new CBA going to be within the next couple of years overall. So there's a very real chance that maybe the process is changed, especially with how these contracts are doing. This is a way that players, agents, and all that can say, hey, we don't like this process here. Let's change it. And then maybe if we do get rid of arbitration, maybe we do stop these kinds of contracts here, which again could go either way. That's just how it works. Let us know what you guys think. What are your 3 words only on these extensions? What are your just overall ideas on this ones? Do you really think do you honestly think that Jackson Merrill made the best financial decision in the world? Do you think that Crochet is going to be the next Cy Young? Let us know what you guys think on Twitter and on X. But now it is time for trivia here, and I'm hosting it today. Normally I would say this is Mac versus Splash, but no, this is Mac and Splash working together in a game here. We're going to be
Finally.
playing
Sounds like a threat.
catchphrase. We're going to be playing catchphrase. I have put together a list of
Oh, Lord.
baseball-related terms here. One of you will know the terms and will have to try and communicate that to the other person here to get them to say that term without saying that exact word overall here. I have a list of 41. I will send a list to whoever's going to be the talker, the explainer on this here over Discord here. But what I would like you guys to do here is I want you know what, Splash, how about you? Let's go ahead. Can you pick evens or odds for me, please?
We'll go with odds.
You're going odds. I'm going to be rolling this D12 because it is fun. It is 4. So, Mac, you get to decide. Do you want to be the person explaining the terms or guessing the terms?
I'm going to go with guessing because I am awful
Okay.
at explaining things.
Okay.
All right. So,
Okay.
Splash, I'm going to take a brief moment. I have the full list right here, all
boy.
with spoiler
It's really
tags on them here
Okay.
so that you can go one by one with this.
Okay.
I will be keeping track. You will have 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Here.
I would say it would be cool if I got half the list and then Matt got half the list.
I thought about that. And you know what? Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Why not? Here.
All right,
so
let's do it.
all right. So I'm going. Let me. Yeah. After the 2.5 minutes, then we'll swap. I
Sure.
thought about doing that, but I'm also was trying to come up with enough terms.
Fair.
So give me just.
All right.
a sec
I have Discord pulled up.
All right, we'll go from here.
Is it
Actually, no,
our
we'll go from here.
DMs?
Yeah, it'll be in our DMs. I haven't put it there yet.
All right. So Alex's
Okay.
awards picks: Judge, Gilbert, Job, Otani, Skeen, Sasaki. That Sasaki pick when he's on the Oklahoma City Dodgers
no, it
here in a
didn't.
minute.
Oh no. All right. We have
Technical
an error.
difficulties.
Yeah, no, I made all the I made the list with the spoiler tags on them, but it did not save for going to you, unfortunately. Okay, so I'll tell you what, since we're going to do half and half on this, just pretend you're going one by one on this.
Okay.
Or just go one by one. If you can't do it,
Sure.
then just pass, okay?
Sure. Yep.
All right, so you will have 2.5 minutes here at this, and I will start the timer in just so. Do you guys have any questions until then?
I did not get the list.
I haven't sent it yet.
Okay.
It is right now on the dashboard, about ready to be sent.
Sure thing.
Here. All right. So, Mac, do you have any questions?
So I just have to guess the phrase or whatever.
Yeah, you have to guess the phrase. Splash, you cannot say any of the words within that phrase
Right.
that you have here. A lot of these are just one word anyway, so just don't.
All right.
Sure thing.
All right, I'm sending you the list now.
All right.
Start from the top and go through to the bottom.
All right.
All right. Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, go.
Dallas Braden.
Perfect game.
Yes. 3 bases.
Triple.
Yes. Not a strike.
Ball.
Yes. John Kenzie Noel.
Christmas.
Try
Big
again.
Christmas.
Yes. Josh Chisholm, Aaron Judge, Andy Pettit.
Yankee.
Yes. Barry Bonds 1-7.
MVP.
Andres Munoz, new pitch. Clay Holmes.
Kick change.
Our acronym, Daniel Vogelbach.
Labs.
Board. Yes. Derek Jeter, Bo Bichette.
Shortstop.
Yes. Jazz Chisholm's baseball hitting tool.
Torpedo.
Yes. Garrett Cole, when he throws three pitches in the zone to a batter.
Strikeout.
Yes. Not a slider.
A cutter.
Slider, but different movement.
Sweeper.
Yes. Cal Raleigh.
Catcher.
Nickname.
Big dumper.
Yes. It's like a. I'm gonna pass this one. Another name for a home run.
Dinger.
Yes.
1 minute left.
2 bases.
Double.
Yes. Brewers legend or Milwaukee legend catcher.
Bob Uecker.
Yes. It's not about the money, Spider-Man.
Oh, the
It's
Mets.
about
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. Ruth.
Babe?
Yes. One base.
Single.
Yes. The card, the batting order.
Lineup?
Yes. That's it.
Okay.
Oh,
yep.
wait, I passed
You
someone.
yeah.
You
okay,
did
go
pass
back.
one, yes.
So it's like it's an alternate pitch name. Not every pitcher has it. It moves a little weird. CC Sabathia threw one. It's like
What?
a little bit of a different variation on a curveball.
A slurve?
Yes.
All right,
Oh,
there you go.
great.
Got them
Yeah.
all. All right,
I had-
fantastic. With legitimately half a second to spare.
I
go.
saw the part of slurve, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to say curveball.
Yeah.
'Cause
No,
it could be, like,
I would have
slow
dinged you for
curve,
that.
but
So.
I don't know. It was
Yeah,
different.
all right. I did not expect you to actually get all of them. Fantastic.
Great.
All right, cool. Well, hey, that's honestly still impressive.
Good job, boys.
All right,
GG Mac.
good job. All right,
Yeah,
so
that was
now
awesome.
I'm going to give the
Now you're
other
gonna send
half
me-
of the list over to Mac. Here,
right,
so need to find
see.
our DMs real quick. I have it here, and just where are you? We don't
Where are
honestly-
you?
Where are you?
Right.
I wonder if we could make a song out of words we've said on the podcast, like
Oh, we definitely
Probably.
can.
like
It'd
an
be fun.
actual like a Billboard Top 100 song, but just like all of the lyrics spoken on podcast.
Okay, there we go. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Boom. There we go. All right, Mac, I have sent you your
right.
list. It's a little shorter. Here, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes here for this
Okay.
because it's a little shorter. Because
Okay.
I had to guesstimate the amount of terms I had.
All right.
Here.
Oh,
All right,
God.
are you
Oh,
ready? So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Splash got the full 21. You have 20. No, I'll still give you the full 2.5 minutes. We'll go from there. All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
The only thing pitchers can do with a bat in their hands.
Whiff,
No.
bunt,
Yes. Routine fly ball.
can of corn,
Yep. Chad Bradford.
submariner,
Yep. Submariner. They hold a competition in July.
home run derby, all-star game.
I'll give you that.
Derby. Yeah.
Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Mariners,
Nickname.
junior.
Other nickname.
The kid,
Yep. The kid. Billy Wagner. Mariano Rivera.
closer,
Yep. Pete Alonso.
polar bear, Mets first baseman,
Jake
No,
Arrieta threw a really good version of this pitch.
changeup, fastball, curveball. God,
It kind of moves
Cutter.
like a wiffle ball, you know.
knuckle curve,
Clay Holmes throws this pitch a lot too.
sinker,
Yep. What's the shape of the baseball field?
diamond,
Yep. Randy Johnson won a lot of this.
Cy Youngs,
Yeah. Your favorite baseball team?
Atlanta Braves, baby,
Adam Wainwright threw a lot of these.
curveball,
Nickname for it?
Uncle Charlie,
Yep. What
1 minute left.
every where does every sports team play?
ballpark,
Different word.
stadium,
Yes. 3 strikes in a row, but they didn't swing.
Strikeout looking,
Another phrase for that.
pass,
All right. Slang for a home run.
dong,
No.
a bomb, a jack.
10 seconds.
Oh God.
Really?
Okay, pass.
Okay.
Fourth in the lineup.
Cleanup hitter,
Red Sox home stadium.
Fenway,
All right, and
Cubs
that's
home
time.
stadium.
Wrigley.
All right. Yeah, that list was a little harder, I think. I just put it through a
It
random
was
list
tougher,
generator.
but
Yeah, so
I was honestly better at that than I thought.
yeah, so you guys got a grand total of 36, which is impressive still.
It's about a little under 90%.
41 was the full total
Okay.
that I had written out. So the ones that you did not get were Stadium, I believe.
We got Stadium.
Yeah, it was backwards K.
Yeah.
For a strikeout
okay.
looking, yeah.
Okay.
Round tripper was the
Homer
one.
I don't think I've ever said round tripper.
I've said it away too often.
I've said it before, but it's not like the first one I think of.
You could have given me an hour, and I wouldn't have. That.
All right, and then the last ones were Cleanup, which you got that one.
Yeah.
Fenway, Wrigley, Sacrifice, and Long Reliever.
Okay, in fair, I got Fenway and Wrigley. We will count those. The last.
I won't count Wrigley because as Fenway was the last one that we had the time on.
Okay.
But not like it matters. You still got 36,
Sure.
which is insanely impressive.
Okay.
Here. I was like, good job, you guys.
Sacrifice.
I mean, I thought about it. That would be funny. But hey, you guys did well. Thank you so much for playing along with that. So the real winner here today is the fans.
Yes.
But with that being said, now it's now time for our final segment. We like to end every show with the moment to ourselves. We don't have to talk about anything baseball related, but it absolutely can be just anything that's on our mind. Is anyone like to go first? Splash, you raised your hand. So I will get your screen soloed here for you.
Sure.
Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Folks, the Braves are 0-7. Yeah. So the tough part here is if you had won any individual game and you go back 1-6 and you're like, okay, you lose 3 out of 4 to the Padres and you get swept by the Dodgers. It's like, okay, whatever. Or you get swept by the Padres, weird series, and then you take one from the Dodgers. Say had they won yesterday, you feel so much better. But getting swept in back-to-back series to open your season, it is just the air is out of the balloon. I know the Dodgers and the Padres are both very good, and they both have excellent pitching staffs and particularly excellent bullpens. So the benefit of the Braves, the Jurickson Profar of it all, working deep into counts, getting pitchers out. They got both King and Cease and Snell out early within 4 innings, and then did not score after they left the game. Really, they may have scored a run off the Padres bullpen in the opener, but like they just couldn't score late in games, and you're not going to face those bullpens the rest of the season. And the Braves aren't going to go 0-162, but you need to start winning some games. If you want to get to 89 wins, let's say, the rest of the season, to get to 89 wins, you have to win games. You have to win 89 of your last 155. That is playing at a 93 win pace. You didn't do that last year. And winning games at a 93 win pace is difficult to do. And by the way, that just gets you to 89. And the National League West is just annihilating everyone. So for them to get to 89 wins, they only have to play at like an 85 or an 86 win pace the rest of the season. I know the schedule gets easier. You don't have to go on the West Coast for a while. But you gotta figure it out. Michael Harris, Austin Riley. Can we like hit the baseball, please? I like what I've seen from Matt Olson. He has a couple doubles. Marcell Ozuna leads the league in walks. He doesn't have an extra base hit yet, which is a little weird. And I think the auxiliary pieces are playing, reasonably well. I think Brian De La Cruz has had some moments. Chadwick Trump has had some moments. Drake Baldwin has one hit so far and a couple walks, but he's hit the ball hard. He's played pretty good defense. Stuart Fairchild came in and had an outfield assist yesterday. Laid down a bunt for he got on base. It was an error. Nick Allen, like I said earlier, I think has taken over the shortstop job. That's not. I don't know how much of an overreaction that is, really. Jared Kelenic had a homer, has had a couple hits. But the guys you extended the core of the lineup, the Rileys and the Olsons and the Ozuna yesterday, he drew 3 walks. That's great, but bases loaded, no outs, and doesn't do anything. Michael Harris, Ozzy, figure it out.
Yeah, the beginning of the season, you'll always have like people are still trying to work out some of the kinks here. I know that's what spring training is for, but spring training is also for seeing younger players. So it's the beginning of the season is always really weird at that point, and that's why some of the wins at the beginning of the season mean that much more because you're working out the kinks while still winning.
Yeah, and it counts the same. A win in April counts the same as a win in September. I know we don't think like that, but it counts the same. And I do want to quick note. I saw a tweet from Jeff Fry, former big leaguer, who's mad about position players pitching. Fair enough. He said, "Oh, this Kyle Tucker home run at a minor league baseball stadium counts the same as Hank Aaron home run off Don Drysdale." Yes, but let's not act like Hank Aaron hit all of his home runs off of Hall of Famers. It takes 2 seconds to figure out he hit home runs off of bad big leaguers or big leaguers making their MLB debuts or big leaguers that had exactly one big league appearance. And Ricky Henderson didn't steal all 1,406 of his bases off of Pudge Rodriguez. He famously did not steal 130 bases in a season that Pudge Rodriguez was in the big leagues. Pudge was like 14 when he stole 130 bases for the 1982 A's. So I get it. That's a fun like tweet, and it goes out to your followers. I get it, but not every home run is built different. Not every home run is the same. Babe Ruth, like his 714 home runs. How many of those were off of pitchers that never pitched again in Major League Baseball or had a 17 ERA or any number of things? There's a reason like platoons exist. There's a reason you get put in these situations and you exceed in these situations, right? If you're Kerry Carpenter and you played your entire career against lefties only, he would be horrible, but he plays primarily against righties. He's awesome.
Yeah. Like, because that's the other thing, like, because to make the example even weirder to say here, that a home run that is a Hall of Famer off of a Hall of Famer has the exact same worth as just a random platoon guy or a bench guy getting an inside the park home run because the center fielder dove and broke his ankle.
Yeah.
Like they matter the exact same. They count the exact same.
And you can point out that a ground out, if say, let's call him Fref Dry. So if he faces
very subtle there.
Yeah, if he faces Randy Johnson and grounds out, okay, it's Randy Johnson. Well, if he faces a position player and grounds out, that counts in the ledger just the same. And I would imagine that's a little embarrassing having the same result against Randy Johnson as you did against Randy Johnson against a position player pitching. Now, I know the position play, it's out of hand. Like, I like it, but it's a little out of hand. You know, Jake Bauers pitched twice on opening weekend. I get it. And he pitched 2 scoreless innings, by the way. Torpedo bats. I get it, but at the same time, there are going to be quote unquote easy home runs, easy strikeouts, easy stolen bases. How many times in Ricky's career do you think he stole a base without getting a throw? How many defensive indifferences that could have been called defensive indifference, but he gets credit for the stolen base? Or how many hits out of his 3,000 plus could have been errors?
Exactly.
Do you want to get through every single one? All of Pete Rose, 4,256 hits. How many of those could have been errors?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it all comes really down to at that point here. All right, Mac, would you like to go next or do you want me to go?
Yeah, sure. I'll go next.
All right, sounds good. Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that baseball season's a marathon, not a sprint. Through, like I said earlier, through 7 innings of yesterday's Mets game, I could already read the headlines. Like, Mets off to disastrous start. Is this payroll worth it? Is this roster worth it? Is Juan Soto overpaid? All this yada, yada, yada. But Pete Alonso looks great. I feel like last year, at the end of the season, during the playoffs, he really unlocked his true self. He's no longer chasing at garbage. He's taking good at bats, actually. That home run he hit against Calvin Fauché last night and the grand slam he hit against Cal Quantrill were long at bats where he finally got a pitch to hit at the end and he attacked it. So that's really, really encouraging. This is a guy that felt like most fans didn't want back until he hit that home run against Devin Williams last year. And even after that, I mean, people were wondering, is it worth all the hassle of trying to bring him back? And I think, it's paying off, really. Obviously, like I said, though, it's 162-game season. Trust me, Juan Soto will not bat 240 or whatever. And the Mets won't have a terrible offense. And sure, the rotation might come back to earth. The pitching staff might come back to earth. But there are a lot of ups and downs from the first week of the season. But like I said, long way to go. 156 more games to go for the Mets.
Let's talk about the Mets, Spain.
Exactly. I was like, just remember, it's not about the money, Spider-Man.
That has to be my intro now.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Yeah, we'll have your intro talking about the Mets. We'll have Mac's intro talking about the Braves, and mine talking about the Astros.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the one time you praised Altuve.
We're not going to go there.
Jose Altuve, the best second baseman in baseball.
I mean, that's definitely not something I've said. Anyway, with all that being said, I'll be ready to go. Can someone count me down?
3, 2, 1.
So I accomplished a dream last week. Something that I have been I've been wanting to do for 30 years. I got a foul ball during a baseball game. Finally. I have been going to games for 30 years. I have never gotten a ball during a game. I've gotten balls twice. The first one was when I was a kid. It was during batting practice. An adult got a ball and then gave it to me. And then there was one 2 years ago, where we were watching batting practice from behind home plates here on the field, and a ball bounced off the L screen and came over to me, and I caught it here, which cool. I got the no-fly zone from Julio. It was cool. But watching the ball as it was hit by Jorge Polanco, the 7th inning of that game, it was a blowout game. We're not talking about that part of it. I could not care less, excuse me. But watching that ball, and I'm like watching the trajectory and just going, oh my God, that's coming my way. Oh my God, it's actually happening. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I did not catch it, unfortunately. It went off of my hand here because I had to reach around a little bit there. And I was feeling the sting on my finger because it did hit my hand. It bent my finger back. My finger was stinging for like an hour after that. But I knocked it down enough. It went into basically one of the chairs. I reached down and grabbed it. And the first thing I did after I got is I just hugged my aunt who was right there with me, because I've been wanting to try and get a ball for 30 years and during a game, and it finally happened. So Jorge Polanco, thank you. I'm actively now looking for you to do an autograph signing so I can get you to sign that ball. I actually already bought a case for it and all that too. But that, and to be fair, that's probably the least like what could have been the big headline for that day, because I was also on the field that same game, got randomly selected to be on the field to cheer on Cal Raleigh as he got his platinum glove. Like, that was a hell of a day.
I still have not gotten a foul ball at a game. I still haven't gotten a home run. So I'm still waiting for that to happen. But occasionally, if I'm sitting in the right part of the stadium, I bring a glove.
Yeah.
Just because I don't feel confident in myself that I can barehand a ball and not just break my hand.
I'm decent with barehanding. Yeah. Like, for me, it's that this ball had so much spin on it. Like, I could okay, you guys are baseball players. You guys have played as well, right? You guys should know.
It's been a while.
Do you guys know what I mean when I say that you could see the ball's trajectory and know it's coming right at you? You know,
it's the worst feeling in the world.
It's the best feeling of the world. But
I do have a foul ball. I got one at a actually guess the game. Guess what home ballpark I got it in.
Was it the Rome Emperors?
No, that was in Greenville, but no. It was in Detroit.
Oh, nice.
I think it might have been a Mariners Tigers game or a White Sox Tigers game, but yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. But like, I had that moment of like everything was going in slow motion for a bit. I'm like, this is actually happening. This is actually happening. This is actually happening. This is actually happening. And then, of course, I didn't catch it, and I felt horrible. Because I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I wanted to catch it, but I haven't brought a glove to a game, I think, legitimately since like 2019. So
I don't bring it often. Like I said, unless I'm sitting in like a prime position to catch a ball potentially, like I'm not going to bring my glove to the game if I'm sitting in the upper deck behind home plate. Like
yeah, absolutely fair.
Hey, I'm going to the Nats game on Monday.
Monday.
Nice. Yeah, Monday.
Nice.
The Dodgers are in town. I don't know who's pitching,
Go
unfortunately.
cheer on James Wood.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go to the James Wood bobblehead game in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'd like to, at least.
Very
take
nice.
the old Metro down. I'm not gonna. I don't have a glove up here, so I can't bring a glove. But I think we're sitting.
This is also
on the third base side, so I don't know.
I also just thought about this. This is the last podcast that I'll record where I'm 30 years old. By the next time, I'll be.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
The next podcast you'll be even older. That's.
Oh yeah, fantastic! I'll be the old man even more so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's going to do it for our show today. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to today's episode of Losses Above Replacement. If you want to follow us on social media, you can go follow all of us individually. Myself at the Sports Guy 242. You can go follow Splash at Mr. Splashman19. You can go follow Mac at Mathias_A_K. You can also follow the podcast itself at LAR_baseball on Twitter/X here and on Instagram, as well as on YouTube. You can find us at Losses Above Replacement. Please give us a good review if you like it. Go ahead and give us a follow. We put out content every single week there. But from all of us here at Losses Above Replacement, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon.